Tristan, the Washington Commanders took on Arizona today. One of the top-ranked offenses in the league, held them to 14 points and scored 42. Jayden Daniels is a masterpiece on the field. He is a generational superstar. You couldn't tell me any different, but I want to hear it from you because I asked you this last week, and you put the Eagles atop the NFC East, and I'd like to know now, is it time for us to take Washington with this win seriously as a contender for the NFC East instead of Dallas or Philadelphia?
So it's time to take them as a contender, sure, but I think you're kind of playing the game a little bit because when we talked about it before the show, I think you were kind of more insinuating like we should just hand the NFC East to the Commanders, say it's theirs.
I would at this point.
Okay, I think that's too far. I do think they're for sure a contender. You might even say they're the favorites at this point because of Jayden Daniels. It's that simple. You're right. He looks incredible. I go ahead and just be honest. I didn't think he was going to be good in the NFL. I was concerned about his stature because he looked small. And I was worried about his intermediate passing game because you didn't see the ton at LSU. Well, it's just because you didn't have to, because he was just throwing dimes to Malik Neighbors all the time. I love watching him play football. It's incredible. I'm sure people have seen the stat already. He's got the best completion percentage through 4 games of any quarterback ever. That's unbelievable. They ran through Arizona, and their defense stepped up. So really impressive. The scouts were right. We did have a generational quarterback in this draft. They just thought it was the wrong quarterback. Turns out it was Jayden Daniels. Here's the reason I'm not ready to just hand the NFC East over to the Commanders yet.
Okay.
It's the schedule and it's the defense. The defense has been bad for most of the season. Obviously, their performance today against Arizona was really good. They held Arizona to 14. But if you look, Tampa, week 1, they lost. They let Tampa hang 37 on them. They let New York hang 18 on them. They let the Bengals hang 33 on them. Now they stopped Arizona. Their next 2 games, Cleveland and Baltimore. 2 really, really stout defenses. I don't think they have to be too worried about Deshaun Watson or the Browns scoring any points. But I want to see what happens when they run up against tougher defensive competition, because as much as I like the Commanders and as much as I agree they're an NFC East contender, just looking at the schedule, Tampa, Giants, Bengals, Cardinals, and they lost to Tampa, it's not like they've beaten any real powerhouses.
Yeah, I would disagree a little bit. And the reason I say that is because their defense took on one of the highest powered offenses. So are you concerned about the defense, even though what they did today was kind of, I'm not going to say the impossible, but it was very unlikely that they were going to, hold Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. to just 14 points. I find it hard to believe that this Commanders defense isn't improving every single week. And look, we look at teams and we say that they're bad, defensively, and they come out the very next week and they put on a showstopper, aka the Ravens. When you look at how many yards the Washington Commanders put up today, 449 offensive yards. I don't care if your defense is subpar, middle of the pack. You win football games when you put up almost 500 yards.
No, I agree with that. And I think, obviously that's how they were able to beat the Bengals. If they're able to keep doing that, yeah, of course. But you have to just wonder if the rubber meets the road when they go up against, when Jayden Daniels and company go up against a more stout defense like Cleveland, like Baltimore. If they had to play Kansas City, how would they look against them? Obviously, that's not a concern. Their concern is more NFC teams. Now, in the NFC, I think they're going to be okay because there's not really any just killer defenses in the NFC right now, other than maybe Minnesota, that you just know is going to take you away every single game. So we'll see. But you're right. The way they played Arizona and the way they held them to 14 points is impressive. I will say they still gave up yards, though. Arizona had 181 rushing yards, so they were able to move the ball. The big thing is they stopped Arizona's pass game. Arizona only 115 yards through the air. That's impressive because the Commanders were letting Joe Burrow and the Bengals throw all over them. Yeah. It goes back to kind of the theme of this season. A team will look one way one week and then look completely different the next week. There's not a ton of consistency in this league other than maybe the Vikings right now. So I'm just a little hesitant to go ahead and hand them the NFC East. But with the way the Eagles are playing, not good. And the way the Cowboys are playing, not great. Yeah, it's theirs for the taking. Like they are in the lead. They're 3-1. They lead the division. All they have to do is keep playing like this, and they will win the division. We'll see. I know there's going to be some bumps along the way, though.
Hedging your bets right now. The season ends at week 6. Everything is like it is right now. Who wins the NFC East?
Week 6, I'd probably lean Commanders.
I think we're really going to see them put to the test when they go to Baltimore and play the Ravens. That's going to be the biggest game, because if they can take away the passing game, the Ravens also have somebody named Derrick Henry who can run the ball a lot better, in my opinion, than James Conner. So they're going to be put to the test for sure. And at that point, it may just be a shootout. The Commanders may find themselves in several shootouts if this defense can't continue to improve. I do think they're on the right trajectory. I think they are getting better week by week. Hopefully, they need to. Every team needs to get better week by week. But I do think that the Commanders have what it takes offensively. I'm a big Jayden Daniels fan now, and I think that we made the joke before the season started. How can you strike gold twice? Talking about CJ Stroud, right? Like, that's a generational rookie. Like, that almost never happens. Jayden Daniels has the chance to do what CJ Stroud did, and maybe even better.